Om Purnamadha Purnamidham Purnat Purnamadhuchyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, no book today because this is just an introductory session. So, no book. From tomorrow you'll be, I don't know, happy or unhappy, because I might be keeping a book and reading every sloka and trying to explain and so on and so forth. Today is just general, okay? Just to introduce yourself and myself. And I'm glad to see that you all are here in a happy mood. Okay, so I made it clear that this retreat does not have a Kriya session, and still people wanted to register. So we're just going to do the Upanishads. Last retreat we did Kena Upanishad? And Kena Upanishad finished so fast that we did an additional bonus. We did the Mandukya Upanishad. So this time we're going to start with tomorrow with the Ishavasya Upanishad. And then if we finish it quickly, then we might add one, which I will keep up my sleeve. I'm going to tell you. Yeah. So, before we go into the body of the actual Upanishad tomorrow, I need to give you a rough idea of what the Upanishads are. So those who have already attended many retreats might get bored. I'll try to keep it in such a way that you're not bored, much as I can. So, first, many people must be knowing by now that there are 4 Vedas. In India, ancient times, 4 Vedas, which have now survived for over 1,000 years with us. And they say, why do I say they say? Because the Rishis and the Upanishads also say they say. So it must be more ancient than that. They say, iti shushruma purvesham. This is what the ancients said. So I'm also saying. So they said that in the beginning, the Vedas were not organized into any particular order. They were just the intuitionary truths that occurred to the great Rishis who lived in the forests, in beautiful little places, cottages, no need to pay taxes, nothing, in happy people. So it occurred to in their brains or minds, whatever you want to call them. And it was kind of scattered. It was not put in any particular order. Now, difficulty is when something is not put in an order, it's difficult to study it, right? So somebody came along and said, let's put them in order. Without organizing things into some order, it's difficult to understand. As long as the order doesn't become more important than the truth. Anyway, so they came in and they said there was one person known as Vyasa. So the word Vyasa in Sanskrit means a compiler. So he's called Veda Vyasa. So he compiled this scattered knowledge which was everywhere, put them into a certain system. with 0 and 1 as the basis and created the computer, the internet. So it was this Vyasa who is responsible for this, that the Vedas were finally divided into Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda and Atharva Veda. 4. And now when you say, I'm just giving you a general introduction, I will not touch the Upanishad till tomorrow morning. I mean this particular Upanishad. When the Vedas are read, well, this also you should remember, reading of the Vedas came much later. It was chanted. It was word of mouth. If I wanted Rig Veda, then I know the entire Rig Veda. And the Rig Veda was not read but chanted, remembered and passed on to the next generation. Writing came much later. So therefore the Vedas are called Shruti. Shruti means that which is heard, not that which is read and then discussed and memorized and compared. You come back in the morning with some points. Shruti is what you hear clearly. But when Vedas are referred to as Shrutis, it means that which is heard absolutely clearly, and when heard, the mind that is prepared to hear it immediately grasps what is being said, not ruminate over it. So therefore, you see the importance. The listener is as important as the person who is teaching the Vedas. Because since it is Shruti, if the listener is ready, it's grasped immediately. It's a very, what we would call a cooperative act between the teacher and the listener together. So this is Shruti. Now also in music you say Shruti. If somebody is singing without proper, what is it called? Rhythm, so they say apashruti. What is this? So Shruti is that. So order. Order is also Shruti. What is the name? What do you call order in Sanskrit? Anybody? Rhythm, the same word you use in English. Rhythm vadishyami, satyam vadishyami, tanmam avatu, tadbhaktaram avatu. It is from the Vedas, from the Krishna Yajur Veda. Rhythm vadishyami means rhythm. I bow down to that rhythm, which is reflected everywhere in the universe. Anyway, so the problem, therefore, in listening to the Shruti in all its clarity is to set apart all the arrhythmic things so that everything falls into a rhythm. And then Vyasa split it into the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, the Sama Veda and the Atharva Veda. Now while doing that, what happened was some portions of the Veda, major portions of the Veda, were considered to be Samhitas. Rig Veda Samhita, Yajur Veda Samhita. When you say, but the problem is, many people tend to think that the Vedas are only the Samhitas. No. The Vedas, the first portion is the Samhita. The second portion of the Vedas is the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas are the ceremonial parts of the Samhita. They discuss on how to use certain mantras and samhitas for a certain result and so on, and most of it is worldly also. Anyway, we are all worldly, right? So, Brahmanas, they are the ceremonial parts of the Vedas. So when you say Samhita, it's the first part, which is basically hymns. So, you know that a most famous Samhita, one of the most important mantras taken from the Rig Veda Samhita. What is it? So Gayatri is a mantra which is taken from the 142nd mandala of the Rig Veda, probably. I may be wrong a little bit, one or two, of the Rig Veda. And the Rishi, the one who discovered this mantra, was Vishwamitra. If you look at the name Vishwamitra, it means friend of the universe. Vishwamitra. Right? So, Vishwamitra did. So, Gayatri comes from the Samhita portion of the Rig Veda. Then come the Brahmanas, which are the ceremonials, which describe what to do with certain mantras, how to perform yajnas, and so on and so forth. And then comes one portion, this is also Veda. The Brahmanas are Veda, the Samhitas are Veda. Then comes the next portion, which is known as the Aranyaka. Now these are studied in the Aranyas, forests. So when you have done with all the Samhitas, or rather you have done with all the ceremonies, then they used to go into the forest where the Rishis sat and taught you the next step, how to understand the essence of the Vedas. So therefore many of those so-called Upanishads are also called Aranyakas. Going into the Upanishad is a very smooth transit from the Aranya to the Upanishad. Many of the Upanishads are Aranyakas. That means that which were taught in the forest. So that's why we find it nice to learn these things in this forest. More oxygen, fresh air, no need to worry about the traffic. You're clear. Also, you should add good food along with this. When I say good food, I mean food that doesn't disturb your brains and minds. They're clear. Food that doesn't numb your brains, for instance. You know the foods. The other spirit. This spirit and that spirit. And so, so this is the Vedas. So Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad. Now all the Vedas, all the four Vedas have some cryptic little sentences which the Upanishads explain. The job of the Upanishad is to explain this. And what are they called? The Mahavakyas. Maha, great. Vakya, words. Mahavakya. And in all the Vedas, all put together, there are only 4 Mahavakyas. Now please understand that all the literature that we have, the religious literature that we have in India, I'm saying India because it started in India, it is actually not just confined to one geological location. It's quite universal in its content, right? So, now because if something had originated in Rome, it would be in Latin in the same way. So, the Mahavakyas, the great words which occur in the Vedas are 4. One is, now please remember that these are the oldest teachings that have come to us. All other teachings, texts that we have come after, including the Puranas, the Yoga Sutras, everything. The original ones are the Vedas and the Upanishads, which are part of the Vedas. Let's say 1,000 years as a conservative estimate, maybe older according to me, my understanding. The Mahavakyas are, I am Atma, Brahma. My Atman is Brahman. Prajnanam Brahma. Brahman, the absolute truth, is consciousness. Illumined consciousness. consciousness that glows. Prajnanam Brahma. So I am Atma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma. Tat Tvamasi, you are that. Means you are not this, but you are something else. You think you are this, but you are something else. Which means you think you are this limited being, but you are not, much more. Tat means that. Even tat, if you add an H, it becomes that. Tat, that. Tvam, you, asi, yes, are, tat tvamasi, you are that. And now this is the most dangerous of the Mahavakyas, which could be misunderstood and could build up your ego to a great extent. Aham Brahmasmi, I am the Brahman. If it's not well understood, you always end up in trouble. So these are the four Mahavakyas. Now the Upanishads do a good job of explaining what these are. And since the Upanishads occur at the end of the Vedas, the end portion of the Vedas, they are called Vedanta. Anta meaning the end, where the Samhita portions and all other portions end comes the Upanishad. This is why it's called Vedanta. The great Adi Shankara, who's written, one of the earliest commentators on the Vedas, Upanishad, says it also means end of knowledge, in the sense that once known, nothing more remains to be known. Vedanta. This is the Upanishad. Now, every Vedic text, therefore, has some Upanishads at the end, added on. No, they're part of the Vedas. Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda. The first Upanishad we did here in this session was the Kena Upanishad, which comes from the Samaveda, the third Veda, according to Vyasa. We rarely see an Upanishad from the Rig Veda. The Ishavasya Upanishad that we are going to do tomorrow comes from the Yajur Veda, the second Veda, Rig Yajur. Yajur Veda is also important because it's from the Krishna Yajur Veda, for instance, that the 22 and odd Yoga Upanishads have been derived from. There is something called the Yoga Upanishad. There are about 20 or more, 21, 22 Yoga Upanishads. Can you hear me at the back? Because many people complained last time. My voice is not carrying. So, you can hear me? So what did I say? Yoga Upanishad. So, anything regarding yoga, any subject regarding yoga, that you find in later texts like the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali or the Hatha Yoga Pradipika of Swatma Rama or the textbooks of the Naths like the Garanda Samhita, the Shiva Samhita, all that you find there, you will find it is already discussed in the Yoga Upanishads of the Krishna Yajur Veda, second Veda. Even the Hamsa technique which we practice in Kriya is discussed in the Yoga Upanishad, and the Upanishad itself is called the Hamsa Upanishad. So, how important the Upanishads are. Okay. And the Upanishads are also referred to as Rahasya, the secret. Why were they called the secret? Because they were discussed in close quarters between the teacher and the taught. There was no sound system. You and I sit together and we try to figure out what's going on. This is the Upanishad. So it's called Rahasya. And the word Upanishad, what does it mean? Upanishad. 3 syllables. Upanishad. So upa. Upa means close together, to come closer, to go nearer, let's say, to go closer. It means many things. One is you sit close to each other, you and I, and discuss this matter. Not so much required today because we have this microphone loud, but still, I think this is the maximum number of people that we can have. More than this, it becomes a crowd. In fact, we were trying to reduce it actually, in some way, number. Because it's more of an intimate understanding, learning than a mass phenomenon. So anyway, so upa is to move closer, which means sit close to each other. But just physically sitting close to each other is not enough. You can physically sit on somebody's lap. If you have a good deodorant, it doesn't matter. But it means the minds get close to each other. Minds get close to each other. This is the real meaning of upa. It's also the word used in, some people say, oh, we are doing upasana. What is upasana? Means that posture which takes you close to the truth. Upasana. Upavasa. You fast, you say, I'm doing upavasa, which means I'm traveling towards closer to the truth. Or living close to the truth. Vasa. So, now when you say it's not just the physical closeness, but the mind should be close to each other, it's interesting because much of the things taught in the Upanishad are not in the words alone. Because somebody is trying to teach you what cannot be described by words. The Upanishad itself says, Yad vachana bhyutitam, that which words cannot explain. So why are we wasting time so? So it means that when you say close, it means that each mind has a frequency at which it operates. My mind has a frequency, your mind has a frequency. What they're trying to say is when both the frequencies are at the same level, the whole preparation is to bring this about. Then you learn things which are not in the words but beyond. One has to be very careful with this. It's almost like a transference of understanding when both are moving in the same frequency. Now, it's dangerous to say that because it's become a fashion. Everybody is into Shaktipat. Here you get the truth. It's not like that. When the mind vibrates at the same level, when the frequency is the same, something passes from here there, but it also passes from there here. This is what the teacher should guard against carefully. So close, meaning bringing the thought waves almost close to each other in their movement. It also means that the absolute truth which the Upanishad is attempting to describe, though in many places it seems that the Rishi admits it's difficult to describe. I'm failing, but it's difficult. Na vidmo na vijanimo yathaitat anushishyat. I don't understand how to teach this to you. This is from the Upanishad, Ken Upanishad. Even though this is happening, so why did I say that? No? Think. Huh? No? Okay, so? What I meant was, If it is the absolute truth, if, question mark, if, you cannot become it, you can only go close to it. Because you are limited. If the unlimited is a conglomeration of limitedness, then it ceases to be the unlimited. So the limited can only go as close as possible to the unlimited. How close can you go to the sun to look at it? You won't be there, you will burn off. Right? You get what I'm trying to say. In the same way, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say that the salt doll went to measure the depths of the ocean. So the ocean is the truth. And this doll made of salt is going to measure the depth of the. Do you think there will be any doll left there? It's only the ocean. So you can only say, as a matter of saying, that you can go close. When you are very close, then you are not there. When you are not there, the truth is there. Unlimited, when it is completely free of all. Yeah, exactly. You can only go as close as you can. Beyond that, no. And we're very close, you should be ready to burn it. Be prepared. You go close, many people go close, and then when it's about to be burned, they turn around and run for their lives. It happens. So, this is the Upanishad. Now this is Upa. Shad means to sit down. Shad, settle down. I mean, not just physically sit down, but that the mind also has to settle down. You can sit here for 2 hours, but your mind can be somewhere. So when the mind is settled down, this is Shad. But it also includes sitting down. There are 2 things which should be done sitting down, according to the ancient science. One is meditating, inquiring into the spiritual. The other is when you're eating. So fast food is out. You stand and quickly eat and run. It doesn't digest. It becomes fat. When you eat, sit down. And it's good to sit down like this and eat, because the circulation of your blood goes more towards your tummy. If you hang them down, then it's here. Now don't go to the dining hall and sit on the bed. Why? Shreyam said to this. They'll all have a problem then. So anyway, so what did I say? Shad. Sit, settle down. Then Upanishad. The middle, the link between the Shad and the Upa is the knee. Right? Just like the link between the feet and your body is the knee, Knee. This is Ni, knee.
Sir, you have also said that Adi Shankara has said that Shad can also make a shake-out, right?
Yes, I'm coming. I'm waiting to shake up. I didn't miss. So, knee. This I wanted to say in the end. You brought the cat out of the bag. No, that's okay. So knee means the relationship between the teacher and the taught is signified by the syllable ni, which means down. Hindi also is niche, down. Now physically this is fine, but it is not physical. It's not. I can also sit there and teach. It's not. Now I'm sitting here because everybody decided I'm more visible sitting on Nimrod's tower, so I'm sitting here now. So Actually, it'll be nice to sit. Naresh will not agree, of course, but so ni is the attitude of the mind that is receiving the teaching, which means first the listener or the student should understand that I don't know. Because if I say I know, then I will not understand a thing. So the position where I say I don't know, which means at the lower level, because if I don't know, the Upanishad declares beautifully, he who knows, knows not. And he who knows not, knows. So don't say I don't know just to say that I know. Okay? No, I know some people, they start the dialogue like this. I don't know a thing, then you 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So, so what did I say? Yeah, it's like keeping your vessel empty to receive. If it's not empty, nothing can go in. It has to be clear. Oh, you can put it back when you go, but when you sit, keep it clear. Don't bring all the things that you learned and keep it there. Then there is no need. Even physically, you cannot. I want to pour this water into a vessel. Can I keep the vessel here and pour it? Even physically. Gravity won't allow that. You need to keep it down, right? This is ni. This is the position of ni. I don't know if I told you before the story of the Zen monk and the professor. I think last retreat. In this retreat, I did not. Many of you might remember. A professor went to a Zen master and said, please give me Zen. Teach me Zen. Give me the experience of Satori. You know, Satori is, what is called that? Enlightenment in the Japanese words in Zen is called Satori. So he said, I want to experience Satori. So the Zen master said, okay, sit down. And he went and made some tea for him. Like you come and say, I want moksha. I say, sit down, have some tea. What is this? Now, anyway, so he made some tea and he brought the tea. You know, Zen masters are not like me. If you say, I don't want tea, they might give you a good kick. So, you know. So, he made the tea, brought it in a kettle. There's a small table like this, covered it with cloth. You know, they do everything very ceremonially, very nicely. So, tablecloth, a little beautiful porcelain cup. Then he brought it and started pouring the tea. And the professor was watching. The cup had become full. And he's not stopping, he continues to pour. And the tea came out and came down the tablecloth. So after a while the professor said, sir, the cup is overflowing. The master kept the kettle down and said, your cup is overflowing, how can I give you Zen? Because what is put inside will come out. There's no space. So creating that space is ni. That it is clear that when it goes in, there is space. In fact, the entire Upanishadic teaching is to empty. So that what is required comes. It's not filling you with anything, but clearing up. That's why Shankara used a beautiful word, kinneiti. Not this, not this, not this, not this. When you come to the end of not this, you cannot no longer say not this, there is, it is. So this is put together the Upanishad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, since we are on the subject, I want to tell you that the Zen is an ancient meditative process, teaching, that was taken to China and then to Japan by a South Indian monk from Tanjore. His name was Bodhidharma. He's the founder of Zen. He's the founder of Zen. He worked out a particular kind of Buddhist teaching which laid great stress on dhyana. Dhyana in Sanskrit is meditation. And dhyana when it went to China, the dhyan became chan. And from there into Japan as Zen. Chan to Zen. So there are two things he took to China. One was Zen, dhyana meditation, Chan, and the other was unarmed combat from Kalaripayattu in the south. Which now has become various kung fu, this, that. In fact, the word karate in Japanese means empty-handed. And it's very similar in sound as the kalari. So anyway, that is incidental. Now, our friend was talking about the shaking up. Now, Shankara, who was perhaps the earliest of the commentators, but there must have been more commentators before that, because in some of his commentaries he says, somebody said like this, but it cannot be, and then explains. But the most famous that we know of is Adi Shankara, and he always interpreted as in the Advaitic what? Advaita. There are many kinds of Vedanta, of course. And Shankara, being a great student of, master of Sanskrit, could find deeper meanings to words. So he said Shad, normally meaning sit down. Shad could also mean to churn up, to churn, which means put things on their head. And the normal way of thinking is usually linear. Right? The normal way of thought process is linear. I don't know something, I'm learning. I'm here and you're there and I'm reaching out to you. The truth is there and I'm here and I'm trying to find it. This is all linear. Shankara said perhaps it's not. The way we look at it may be completely different. It may be upside down. In what way? Suppose, according to Shankara, okay, you may or may not agree, I may or may not agree. According to Shankara, doesn't matter to Shankara, of course, but according to Shankara, if the truth or the Brahman, which he is constantly talking about, the supreme Brahman, Parabrahman, if the Parabrahman, the supreme truth or the reality, the real reality as opposed to that which we think is real, if it is, and the Upanishad says it is all pervading. There is no place where it is not. This we will do when we do the Ishavasya Upanishad tomorrow. It begins like that. That supreme reality, Isha, pervades everything here. That's how it begins. Ishavasya midam sarvam. So, if it is so, Shankara's question is very simple. If something is there and I need to go there, it's a linear process, agreed. What if what I look is here and everywhere, then how do I go there? Maybe when all going stops, there is no in-going, outgoing, nothing. Everything is at rest. Perhaps then it is. Perhaps. Now this is a completely different way of thinking, right? Upside down. In fact, there is a beautiful chapter in the Bhagavad Gita. It's the 15th chapter. It's called the Purushottama Yoga. It begins by describing a tree which is upside down. Urdhvamulam matashakam ashvatham prahurav. There is a Ashwatha tree whose urdhvamulam, whose roots are up above and branches down. You can't see such a tree anywhere. The roots are up there and the branches down below. And all that you learn are the leaves that you see. And if you want to see the roots, you have to cut away all your roots. And this is we can't deal with it, it's a complete chapter. Purushottama Yoga, 15th chapter. All brahmacharis who live in the Himalayan ashrams learn it first by heart, because otherwise you can't eat. You're not allowed to eat before you chant it fully. So that is the first thing everybody learns. Food, right? So these are some of the aspects of what Upanishad means, and tomorrow we are going to look at that one Upanishad, which is the Ishavasya Upanishad. I hope to go at it as simply and directly as possible. But please remember that the Rishis themselves are finding it difficult to explain it to you. So we will try our best. Let's not say that I am teaching and you're listening. Let's say that we are trying to together understand this. Let's put it that way. We're sitting together, we're looking at something and saying, okay, let's work together. Let's figure out what this is all about. If that works, then we have done the Upanishad. Otherwise, Upanishad is just another reading. It doesn't mean anything. So now it's 6:20. Can we keep the questions for tomorrow? But then you ask me. Ask me, okay.
It was getting close to the truth, you said, without getting... So if you get so close to the truth that there is no separation between you and the
There
truth.
is no you. There is no separation.
So is that what you meant? Like,
There is no you. There is only that. Okay. It starts like it's... This is from the point of view of a theoretical discussion on knowledge, right? On truth. Okay. It also means that what is the most important barrier between me and the truth is my separate identity, which I have picked up from various births, my past, everything, right? If that barrier disappears, then I, as I know myself, doesn't exist. Then what exists is the truth. Well, the biggest problem is that the I is the biggest problem. First is the psychological I, of course. Then is the I that has gathered knowledge in this life. Forget about past lives. You don't have to believe it. Okay. This life. This is my I, right? I consist of all the knowledge and memories that I have gathered, in this life at least. It's very difficult to get out of that. Why? Because the one who is trying to get out of that is made of that. So how do you get out? You run around in circles. The I is the problem. Now, since you asked the question, that I also has a great psychological impact on us. And the I in this world also is the biggest creator of problems when it becomes the ego. Biggest creator of problems. I say, oh, I know all the Upanishads. Other people they are all low life. They don't know any Upanishad. nobody who has touched or at least going towards it will ever think this way. It cannot be possible. So then, since we are on this, we have 10 minutes. I'm going to tell you a nice, entertaining story about myself, okay? Since you asked, no more questions today. I thought we were going to have it light. So I'll tell you a light story. It's about how you can be free if you're free of that I. Not this I, of course. Even this I. So, you know, in the ancient, in the old Indian belief system, when you die, the messengers of, the assistants of the god of death, Yama, they come to take your soul. You can just understand it as a story, okay, allegorical, anyway, whatever. They come to take your soul, they're called Yamadutas, messengers of Yama, the lord of death. They come and when you're dying, they'll take your soul and go. Then they'll decide what you have and so on. That means you don't die. The body dies, the soul is taken. So, it so happened that there was a great artist, a sculptor, who was an expert in making images, sculptor. So he decided, he was summoned by a priest in a temple to make an image of a deity in the temple, new image of a new deity. So he went, and the priest, who was supposed to be an expert in astrology, like some people here, said that very soon, in a month's time, you're going to die. So this guy said, what is this? You say that you are the priest of God, and you saying I'm going to die in one. We have to find a solution that I don't die. Is there something you can get me from your deity? So the priest said to him, listen, it's very simple. You are such a great sculptor. The images you make are so lifelike. Go back to your workshop. You still have 1 month. Make 2 more duplicates, replicas of yourself. So the exact time when the messengers of the god of death come, go and stand with them. So 2 images and me. We don't know where he's standing. And your work is so good. They're really lifelike. So these idiots who come to take the soul, they're a little weak in the head. They're supposed to be riding buffaloes and so on. So these guys, when they come, they won't be able to distinguish between the real and the unreal, the image and the real one. And once that moment, the muhurta is over, you cannot take the soul. They will try and they can't find which one is real, so they'll go back and you will be saved. So he said, okay. He went back to his workshop and made 2 replicas and stood with them. Because I don't know whether he stood in the middle, but he stood with them. The time came and the messengers of the god of death appeared. And they came. They had to take this soul, so they don't know which one is real. It looks so real. So they waited for some time, touching, breathing, smelling. Couldn't make out. Time was over, they went back. So the Lord of Death said, what happened? Sir, we couldn't find out. This guy did a terrific trick. He made 2 duplicates and we couldn't find out which is real, so we have come back. So the boss said, listen, I know that you're fools, but you have a little bit of intelligence. So next time when you go, because this guy is going to die again in another month, you come to me, I will whisper a secret mantra to you, listen to me and go. He said, okay. Now the priest told him, you're going to die again. That one somehow you manage, but next month they're coming again to take you. Your death time is close. So what should I do? He said, do the same thing. He did the same thing. Now the messengers, before they went from the palace of death, went to the boss and said, you said you give us a secret mantra. I said, he whispered something. Oh, they said, okay. So they came. Same position. all three looking the same, can't make out. Then they followed the advice, the mantra given by the boss. They said, oh, this is so wonderful, so beautiful. Can't make out which is real and which is unreal. Even the skin is so real. And it looks as if it's breathing. It's all, for about 2 minutes he kept quiet. Then when they said, it appears even that the breath is coming from the nostrils, he couldn't control it. He said, I made it. He said, come, let's go. I said, now come, we know who. So the lesson is that I is the biggest problem. Even in finding the truth, that is the biggest problem. Daily life also, it is the biggest problem. I am. The other guy says, I am. So.
You should have been laying down if you were dead.
No, that look, it is a story. That was a very sharp and intelligent question, ma'am. But it's a story, like all allegories. So, thank you very much. Because you asked that question, we had an entertaining time. And tomorrow we are going to be very serious. Very serious. If I laugh, remind me, hey, shut up. So, 6:30. I think I came in at 5:30. Oh, 2 minutes, yeah, Ravi. So what is the next step? Yeah. There's a short break. Come here and say something. Before they say no, sit down and continue.
We were supposed to take a quick break and start the cultural program at 6:30, sir. Can we take a 5-minute break and get
It's 6:30.
6:30 we should start the
Oh,
cultural.
so give me 5 minutes. I am a normal human being. I need to go to the
10
bathroom.
minutes, so we'll start at 6:30.
Sure, sure.
So we'll take a 10-minute break. We'll give the participants also 10 minutes, or also 10 minutes. We'll start from 6:40 to 7:10.
Okay. Thank you. We'll meet again. So I don't need this, no, for the cultural program.